Good night, Philip. Ruth is here. Can you hear Ruth?
Good morning, Ruth. I can hear you.
Hi,
Welcome.
Philip.
And what is your topic, Philip? What is the theme of the day?
So, the topic for today that I'd like to cover is patterns.
So
It's a
let's.
very broad area.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yeah, go for it, Eddie.
And we shall share the whiteboard now. Yes. Just tell me on which image to focus for those who are watching the broadcast on YouTube. Which image, Philip?
I think is it going to be a hassle to maybe move an image or two?
No. Just ask and I'll do it. Just say what you need to do and I'll do it.
Yeah, sure. If we could maybe move the pattern description into more of the center and maybe above it,
More to the
and we
center.
can start with that one.
This in the middle,
Yeah,
and move them to
yeah.
have some space. Yes, like this. This is good.
Sort of to go in between. Yep, just like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that bottom one can come up basically where that one was.
Like this, or any other side. In the middle.
So it's still buffering for me.
Okay.
You can even take it to the right.
This one to the right, like that.
And we can use the illustrations on the edges. It's just loading for me. We have a few seconds delay. Yes, perfect.
This is good.
Yes, that's good.
Yes. So please start.
Okay.
You said that you'd like us to read
All
here.
right.
Yes.
Yes, we'll get to that in just a second. We will concentrate onto that one, but just before we get there. So there was a question that I asked Etty a few weeks ago that I'd want to leave open for if you'd like to add to it or elaborate any more at all. And that question was, with multiple religions around the world today, all having different beliefs, what is your view on them all coming up out of the same Bible? And if any moment anything does come up throughout the session today, if you'd like to just mention that as we go. Also, if at any point someone finds some Hebrew words that relates into what's being said or any scripture as well, please feel free to include those ones also.
Thank you. We shall.
So,
we shall.
go for it.
I just would like you to present, because there are a few words in Hebrew that came through this correspondence between us before class, and I would like you first to open, if it's possible, and then I'll add the Hebrew to just make a point. I would like to give you the respect to start.
Thank you, and that is off to a good start already then. All right, so the title I'd like to cover today is patterns. I'm not sure where I heard it, and it might have even been here, but correct me if I'm wrong, that it's said that language was made before the physical. My understanding is that the Hebrew language is constructed out of numbers as a entire language. It's not something that I've been able to take on board as much as I'd like to, or to be able to see how much benefit comes out of what we literally see every day in the classes. That is just my current understanding, so please correct me if I'm wrong in any of those points at all. But where I'm getting to is that with numbers makes patterns. So in the center here, I've pulled out a definition from the Britannica dictionary on what they have to say about patterns. And if someone would like to read that one, I believe I'm going to be doing a bit of talking myself today. If
Ruth,
anyone would like to
let's
take this.
ask Ruth. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can see that. Pattern, firstly, a repeated form or design, especially that is used to decorate something. For example, the dishes have a floral pattern round the rim. The fabric comes in different colors and patterns. The rug is decorated with a geometric pattern. The shadows made a pattern of lines on the ground. See the color on this page. Or number 2, the regular and repeated way in which something happens or is done. They are studying behavior patterns among high school students. Analysts are noticing different spending patterns by consumers. The trees followed a characteristic pattern of growth.
Thank you so much.
Perfect. So there's a few areas in life where patterns happen, and every area in itself has its own scale. For a pattern to occur is to say that you're having a repeated occurrence happening in that area. So if anyone would like to say anything at this stage, this would be a good time to have a bit of a talk before we move on.
I will ask Fernando. Good morning. Can you hear us?
Shalom, Eti, Philip, and Ruth. Yes, I can hear you. I'm sorry I was a little late, but I am listening now, and it's good to hear you all.
Thank you. We shall ask maybe Ruth. Ruth, would you like to say something about patterns?
Well, I understand the formation of patterns. There's always a similarity with a pattern. But if I'm looking at a pattern, I don't see it in terms of a number, although it may distinctively have a numerical form. But I think for me, a number and a pattern are two very different things, although a pattern can have a numerical form. That's what I think.
That's very beautiful what you just said, Ruth. Very beautiful. Thank you.
That's cool. That's excellent. Maybe if in that case, we might move on to Etty.
Yes.
Just realized any chance back to where the pictures were, there was one right up the top actually that we're not seeing here.
One is missing from one that you have sent, you mean?
Yes.
I try to
look. First
look.
one actually.
I will try to look and locate it. 2, 3 here. 1, 2, 3. Oh, yes, this is true. This is true. Copy the image.
Sorry for that.
Copy image. I'm bringing it. 1 second. Yes, Philip, you can speak. It's on the way. It's coming. Yes.
So with this image that's coming now,
Yes.
This would be a good way to start off. So this is through using a sequence of numbers. I hope you are having it on your screen. I've still got a grey box on mine, but that's okay, even as it's coming up. Yes, here we go. So a certain sequence of numbers, our normal counting is on a 0 to 10 sequence on where it repeats from there onwards. From that number sequence, where
Maybe.
sorry, I'm looking for better words because I think that wouldn't have been a
Maybe you can
good
mention.
direction.
Yeah, maybe can you name the numbers that appearing in Fibonacci? Maybe just read the
Yeah.
numbers and I should write them down. Yes.
So even using the same numbers that we use, there's a sequence of certain numbers called the Fibonacci sequence that comes together by it starting off the sequence as 0 and 1, and you're constantly finding the next number by adding the 2 beforehand. So starting with 0 and 1, adding those together makes another 1. 0 plus 1 equals 1. Next in the sequence to follow that, you have the 2 last numbers, which is 1 and 1. So 1 plus 1 equals 2 as your next number in the Fibonacci sequence. And this is constantly going to move forward. So we got 0, 1, 1, 2, 3 to follow that one. After is 2 plus 3 makes 5, 8, 13, and constantly goes on. Using the same number system that we use is just a particular sequence. So we don't exactly understand on its importance on how it correlates into the areas or other areas throughout life, but we just happen to find it in I don't even know what label to put that under, in most designs of life. I keep thinking areas, but if anyone has a better word of descriptions to put in there, I'm open for suggestions. I'm sure there's a better word to put in there, but all areas tend to use the Fibonacci sequence, and the more interesting patterns to come out of the Fibonacci sequence that ends up getting incorporated into life is, for example, one of the most used ones is a golden ratio that is also known as phi, and it has a value of 1.618, which is a golden ratio tend to be used to keep proportionality throughout God's design, God's work, or literally the world around you. I hope this may be opening up your view a little bit more, Ruth, on incorporation of numbers. Sorry, Etty, 1.618.
I did not, 1 point, sorry. Yes, a second.
Yes,
1 point.
instead of, yes, 618.
Like this?
1.6, yes, 18, there we go, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Except the decimal points in this value keep continuing on forever. It's an infinite decimal point, but where it gets more precise, or sorry, one step before getting into that, coming to this value actually out of the sequence is where you divide any two numbers that are sequenced next to each other, gives you a result of the golden ratio. But the good part is that the further into the sequence that you get is more precise to the ratio. So just for example, for clarity, 2 and 3 are sitting next to each other as we can see in front of us, but 3 divided by 2 gives you a 1.5. But if you go further down into the sequence to something in the hundreds or the 300s, 500s, and divide either number either side, at that point in the sequence, you'll get a 1.6, for example, 19. So it keeps getting closer and closer the further that you go down into the sequence.
Thank you.
So here we have, yes.
I just would like to ask Fernando, because you asked if someone wants to add something to the sequence Fibonacci. Fernando, can you hear us? Maybe.
Yes, I am listening. Philip, it is interesting. Just trying to connect.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting to think, like Philip was saying right now about this. If I understood well, this relation between one number and another one, like the 2 and the 1.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting that we can think that between two numbers we have the infinite, right, in a quantitative form.
Mm-hmm.
Even between the 1 and the 2 we have an irrational number, and we have an infinite. It is infinite between one number and another. So it is not easy to think this in an abstract form like this. But I'm just connecting some ideas that I will bring soon, Eti.
Thank you. I just wanted to say something about those digits, numbers, 1.618. If we take it as 16 plus 18, what do we get? Which number?
30.
Which number?
34.
34. With the 0, what do we get?
Shem.
Shem. The name.
Essence.
The essence, the name. 3 and 4. Another thing, Philip.
Aston.
Yes?
Yes, go for it.
Another thing that you ask about the Hebrew, what does the Hebrew has to do with patterns? Pattern in Hebrew, diffuse, pattern. It's also print. And if we take only the stem letters of pattern, diffuse, we have 4, and here we have 80, and here we have 60. So how much do they make together?
180.
60 plus 80.
I'm far off today.
It's okay. Fernando, 60 plus 80 plus 4.
144.
144. Pattern in Hebrew, the stem letters. The stem letters of pattern, fus, is 144. Is Adam, human, and emet, truth.
Eti,
Yes.
I was thinking in a subjective way, because we have the archetypes that are the primordial forms, or something like this, the structures of the reality. It is like we can think in a very objective way, like We can see the chicken putting an egg. It is the same form like Plato speaks, right? In all over the world, the chickens seeks the same form as a chicken, and the horses used to eat grass as the same way wherever they are. They are connected with a pattern, right? But it's different for humans. Humans has some. It is broader to humans. You know, we have like subdivisions in patterns because we are all humans, but at the same time we vinculate ourselves with patterns, like the pattern of the hero, or the pattern in our attitude, like the pattern of the hero or the teacher or the student, whatever pattern that we have in the humanity. It repeats, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The patterns repeat. And what is interesting that I was thinking about is that when we think about Plato, and he speaks about the world of ideas and this world of patterns, is that the pattern itself has a kind of energy in the world of ideas, following this idea of Plato. And when we connect to this pattern, we somehow receive a kind of energy. We try to operate in this kind of energy if it's conscious. But when we connect to a pattern in an unconscious way, like the victim, when we victimize ourselves, you know, oh, how poor I am, or why the world treats me like this, you know, the victim pattern.
Mm-hmm.
The archetype tends to suck our energy. It is like we get without energy, you know.
Yes, negative.
I'm just putting
negative. Yes, it's a negative pole. Yes, it's a negative
yes.
pole. Yes, I understand.
It is difficult to put in words, but
I understand. It's very interesting. We can even draw what you just said, and here, Philip. Soon I will return to your question and answer, and we shall see more of the images that you chose, Philip. And thank you for bringing this topic. It's beautiful. There is like here a diagonal, like what separates in a way the senses from the abstract. Here we have the abstract or qualitative thinking, and here we have the manifested. 1 second, I'll bring the red as a manifested here. When we are connected to the quality, as Plato say, we gain energy. But when we are connected in a way to the victim, so it's in a way it's a negative pole. We're here, we connect to the absolute or the theme or the pattern, we get a positive pole.
By a positive pole, are you talking about metaphoric kind of magnetism?
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent. Here, do you see, Philip, what Unfolding Dawn Kevin writes on YouTube? Do you see his comment?
I'm not on YouTube, no.
Fernando,
If someone could say that.
Yes, Fernando, can you see YouTube?
Yes, now I can see it. Yes.
Can you read for us?
Yes. Unfolding Dawn said, yesterday I was just reflecting on the word pattern, how to convey its meaning in a non-corporal way. I arrived to the word harmony, the harmonic coincidence. And Philip said, I believe the numbers of creation were 3, 6, and 9. And Venus said, Shalom, the biblical verse quoted Kings 1, 7, 23 about pi. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Could we have that one read at some stage, please?
At 1 Kings, yes, 1 Kings 7:23.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's try it.
In the
Let's try.
meantime,
1 second. We should
Oh,
try.
we
to.
just had some resonance while you were all talking as well. While you're searching, I have a few points to mention on what was mentioned. Human ended up coming up in Hebrew just after talking about either 340 or 34 was the value of essence. Leonardo da Vinci has a drawing that he created of the Peruvian man where he has him standing with his arms out, and there's a second a human over the top with the arms, I think it was in the air, with a circle and a square picture around him. And if anyone knows his background at all, he was a anatomist on top of all of his vast category of titles that he had. So I thought that was pretty cool. And also just to expand on the spiral that sits above the sequence here, which Semi reminded me of the Peruvian man while you were talking about essence and human as well, from the looping around. So this spiral comes together out of the sequence just below it, starting at 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, starts at that inner core of the structure where you see it's more compacted. The concept here is where the smaller squares on the inside are of dimensions 1 and 1, where the next square to follow is also 1 and 1, being the next digit in the sequence. But after that, having a 2, you now have 2 1x1s next to each other, making a long dimension of 2. So to have a 2x2 connected to that makes a 3x2 to follow. So you have 3 squares connected at that point. And the same idea continues, as you can see it going around. So as the squares get bigger there, you have 3x3, 5x5, 8x8, 13x13, etc., where these corners get joined by the looping spiral that you see, and it continues infinitely as the sequence continues infinitely. And being a pattern doesn't only mean that it expands, it can also contract down inwards in the same fashion.
Thank you.
And it was good you've moved on to energy as well. If we have that verse ready, Etty,
Yes, we do.
as
Here
well,
it is.
I'll just put that on hold for now. We will definitely get back to that one. Right after that, we started talking about energy. How is this all for resonance? If we could move to the bottom left picture from the collection, please, Etty.
This is it?
My
This one?
screen is still loading for me.
Okay. Is this what you wanted?
It's not moving just yet. I haven't seen any movement just yet.
Okay, so it delays. There are 6. You sent an image with 6 pictures that have images and words next to them. This
Yes.
is what you mean?
But yes, that would be the one. If
Yes.
I could get that on my screen. Also, 1 second, sorry.
Later, Venus could see if the verse that we quoted is the one that you mean later on after this presentation of the forms. We shall see the verse, and please, Venus, tell us if this is the verse you meant. It's already on the whiteboard. Yes. Philip, do you see?
It's not loading for me. I will pull I'll get the picture in front of me separately, and at the same time I'll talk about it and log out, log back in. Hopefully fix this. So
Okay.
speaking about energy, our energy that we release all day is from a vibe that we're putting out ourselves, and everything around you, everyone around you reflects off of what's going on. And that's to say as well that you're absorbing what is around you. It's important to have around you what is good for you. Everything is being absorbed. In this example here, which I'm just getting to in front for myself,
We shall give you a few seconds to organize. Give you a few seconds, and let's see the verse meanwhile until you prepare. This is from Kings 1:7-23. Venus, this is the verse that you meant. Venus, is that one? Who would like to read this verse? Who sees the English verse here on the whiteboard? And maybe Rodrigo, would you like to read this verse?
Good morning, Eti. Shalom, everybody.
Shalom,
Yes,
shalom.
I can read it, Eti. Verse 23, right?
Yes, yes. I hope that Venus is with us. Yes.
And he made the molten sea of 10 cubits from brim to brim, round in compass, and the height thereof was 5 cubits, and a line of 30 cubits did compass it round about.
Yes, and Venus says that here the biblical verse which is quoted have the value of pi. Let's try to see how Venus saw in this verse the value of pi. So what numbers do we have here?
10 cubits,
They are coming separately. So what numbers do we and then we shall put them together. What numbers are mentioned here in this verse?
10 cubits,
We have 10. 1 second, I'll make the pen see that I could write properly. We have 10 cubits,
Five.
and
5,
5 and
30.
30. Now, what is the value of pi?
Three, 14.
314.
Yes.
314. So this is interesting how Venus found the value of pi here. Yes, 3 is coming with 30. Yes, 10 here with the 1, and 4, the 4 hides in the 5 because the 5 is He, and the 4 hides. Yes, this is the Dalet that forms the He. Very good, Venus, very good. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yes, it is amazing. Yes, and
Yes.
Venus, thank you for sharing.
Venus from Venus. So Questions so far? Things that you would like to say? Fernando, Rodrigo, Ruth. It's a beautiful presentation by Philip, and is there something in Kevin is here on the
Yes.
whiteboard. Kevin is yes.
I have one question, Eti.
Yes.
It is about Tikkun, because we know that we tend to repeat our attitudes like a pattern, you know. It is our tendency. And I don't know, when we read Isaac Luria, he speaks about the Gilgul, right?
Yes.
The repetition and the new reincarnation as well. And my question is how to correct the pattern that we repeat over and over again. Maybe it is, if you have think about it or not. Yes.
Just 2 days ago, I posted from Telegram's feed by Dieter. He was quoting Weinreb about it. He says that our tendency, we have 2 legs, and they don't have the same strengths. So since they don't have the same strengths, one is stronger than the other. So if we shall put all our steps together, we shall notice that we are walking in circles. And all nature works in circles. This is why Luria speaks about igulim, circles, and yosher. Yosher is a line. Igulim, circles, yosher, a line, circle. So all of us are, like you say, are following the same patterns that we ourselves did not create. We are just following them. Now, Weinreb says something very interesting. Once we, in a way, in ourselves, we leave those patterns or we turn to the source of the origin, then we manage to break our patterns and connect his. And then we have a straight line. As long as we are following our own patterns, we are like this boat on the water, just like a shoe on the water. Once we tune ourselves to the source of the origin, it's like we are connected to a sail. There's a wind, and then we suddenly have a direction. We have the notion of a line. As long as we follow our patterns, this is how it is printed in us. We did not term it. We did not term to which family we shall be born, what influences we shall get around us. This is how it is printed in us. Those igulim, those cycles. This is more in the nefesh level. Ruth, once you asked me about the nefesh, this is it. Something like a ring that we can never run away from. It's like a ring, like a shackle, like prisoners have. We are also our own prisoners. But once we align ourselves with the source of the origin, we can move from the circle into the line, into the light. I hope that I answer your question.
Amazing.
Yes, and I think, when you said turn to the source, I think in the Exodus, that's exactly what it said about Moses when he saw the burning bush. I think the instructions were turn aside, and then it says he turned.
Mm-hmm.
So he turned from his circular pattern to going straight.
Yes, excellent.
Excellent, Ruth and Eti. Thank you. It makes me remember that Fine Reb speaks about the Gal, that is the wave,
Yes.
that is this concept, right?
Yes.
And he related this Gal, this circle, and this wave of repetition, like the sea, the time,
Yes.
with Galilee, you know,
Yes.
the Sea of Galilee, that is a river, I think, but it was where Jesus found men to work with him. And it is also interesting, Eti, that Isaac Luria, look how nice, and Rain Vital were in this place of the Sea of Galilee. And it was the place where Luria gives a cup of water to Rain Vital, because Rain Vital could not remember the classes, and it was on Galilee that they broke this pattern, like Luria makes something. It came to my mind to make Rain Vital get over this pattern, because it seems that he was very angry, he was very nervous, and just came to me while I was listening it, and it's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Most welcome. Yes, he told him that he will drink this cup from the well of Miriam. He looked, Luria looked at the Sea of Galilee as the well of Miriam, and he says now, it's like I would say like a shaman, like shamanistic relation, like a teacher to a student, like metaphorical action that works. And he said, now you shall drink the sweet water of the Sea of Galilee. It's like you're drinking from the well of Miriam, and from now on you shall remember what we learn. This is it. Thank you.
If we'd be able to go back to that image, please, Eddie.
Yes, to the 6. To the 6, yes?
Yes.
This one, yes. Yes, do you see this?
Just 1 second. It was keeping up before, but
Do you
that's
have
okay. I'm seeing it in front of
Okay.
me separately.
Okay,
That's fine.
so yes.
If that's on the screen, then just to repeat with before, patterns are in all areas. So what's in front of us now is reactions with water droplets that were affected by certain emotions aimed by particular people. They were amongst particular atmospheres at the time. In negative emotions being drawn out at that moment gave very disrupted, dysfunctional, very the word I'm looking for is when something is not in its perfect shape, when it's out of phase.
You mean chaotic? You mean the negative comments of people or behavior created chaotic?
It is a chaotic setup. Yeah, it isn't in any way in a particular sequence or pattern.
So the 3
And
upper.
that's shown
Yes.
reflected in those, the 3 upper pictures there. But below, when you're in a harmonic phase and delivering a very loving emotion, or directing it into any direction, even if it's just a state you're in at the time. Everything around you is absorbing that, and these water molecules just below are an example of being in that environment at the time. And these are actual pictures that have been taken by people who were in those states at the time, and the water was frozen and looked upon under a microscope, and these are the shapes that they end up giving out after being affected by those energies before they ended up being frozen. Another example of these shapes getting coming down as water are snowflakes coming down in all particular geometric shapes. They're not always the same. I think the saying even goes that no two are the same. I'm not heaps sure on that one, but no two snowflakes are the same due to their patterns before they were frozen. But they come out very nicely, very geometric.
Philip, I found a verse about it from the Bible.
Beautiful. If you'd like to mention it.
Yes, Proverbs 27. I think this is Proverbs 27, 19. As in water face and worse to face, so the heart of man to man.
And even better, that man is 70% water. These are literal reactions, what we're having, not only, but also emitting.
Here it is. Here's the verse. Who can read it? Maybe in better English, maybe Ruth. Can you please read it?
As in water. Oh, sorry, no. As in water, face answereth to face, so the heart of man to man.
Thank you.
As in water, face answereth to face, so the heart of man to man.
Excellent.
With our bodies being majority water, I think that says a lot.
Questions? Maybe you would
If
like...
anyone, yes.
Yes. I see Kevin is here. Maybe Kevin wants to ask something or to say something, Kevin, or to type something on YouTube. Maybe Rodrigo, Fernando, Ruth, would you like to say something? To ask?
Kevin shared a picture of rounding in circles here on Classroom.
Where
I don't know
is
if you
it?
can see it.
Where can we see? Which direction?
It is on Classroom, I think. On chat. Yes.
On chat?
Classroom. Classroom.
I pasted it on the chat, and I pasted it in the Classroom messenger.
Okay, I'll try to find it. Chat. Oh, 1 second. I don't see. On Discord?
Yes. No. And if you're on the voice screen on Discord, and you touch the screen on the top right hand corner, you'll see a little messenger icon or a little chat icon.
Okay.
But you can also see it on YouTube. If you are on the Discord screen for the Classroom,
yes,
and you should see there's a little chat icon. Do you see it?
Yeah. I see. Yes, I see this. Yes. I see this.
Is this an image, is it?
I'll try to bring it here, 1 second, to the class. Yes, I try. Try to upload it to class. 1 second. Here we have. I need to open another. It will take me a while, but I think I can do it. Yes. Fernando, would you like to say something?
For now, I'm following it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. It doesn't go at the moment. 1 second, I'll try again. Yeah, no, it just brings the external, it doesn't bring it, the image, just the title. Just maybe
Yeah, I
later.
pasted the image URL in the chat of YouTube as well.
Okay.
If you click on the image URL, you can see it. But it was just relating to your previous conversation about the image, or what we call a signal, that relates to what is said regarding moving in circles. It was a fluid study.
Thank you.
I didn't mean to distract.
No, it's okay. I tried to, but it doesn't work. Questions or thoughts that you would like to share?
I thought I was able to access that picture of moving in circles, and it seemed to be 2 pictures, and the second one looked like a snake.
Yes.
going across the page, or the image was definitely a serpent just moving. I think that was the one, right?
Yes.
Yes, this is like a little ball with fluid flowing on the left image.
Yes.
And the waves that come off, which create, you can either consider it, there's like a chaos or an order that's coming off of it. But then the second image is another image that shows when there is a cut, and the kind of the square images, or the square fluid breaks into a straight line with curves. And it just shows you how the rays change. But it had something to do with what she was speaking about earlier, about moving in circles, like as we move. And it's why I have this image, is because I was thinking about, as we walk, we don't really walk in a straight line. We walk in one circle and in the next circle. Like every footstep is a swing, is a circle.
It's very nice.
Thank you. Rodrigo, would you like to say something? To ask? Fernando?
I like it, this analogy that Ruth did with the serpent, walking in circles. And
here it is. We managed to bring it. Here it is.
Okay.
It is here. Do you see it? Maybe it will come on YouTube as well. Here. Yes. Do you see, Ruth and Kevin? Do you see this?
Yes, I can see it. Yes, clearly.
Good.
I see it. It's not shown up on YouTube yet, but I see it in the concept board.
There's a delay, so it might appear soon. Yes. Fernando, would you like to ask something, say something?
No, I was just, it makes me remember one class, Seti, that you put a cartoon about a serpent involving a cartoon personage that is going round, it is in circle, and
Mowgli,
Yes,
the book,
Mowgli,
Mowgli,
yes.
the book, yeah.
Yes, when Ruth and Kevin were, while they were speaking, it makes me remember that image, that the circle like hypnotizes, that these rounding in circles make us rigid, and I'm just thinking. I don't know it. I'm just seeing these images
It
and
is.
thinking about this straight line and this circle line.
This is why at the same scene pattern of the conversation in the burning bush, God asked Moses, "What is it? What do you hold in your hand?" There was a serpent that turns into a scepter or a stick. He asked him, "What do you have in your hand?" And it was the line, in a way. Another thing is that you mentioned the Book of the Jungle, and Rudyard Kipling, he wrote this story followed by a real story. They found in the jungle a human cub, that human baby that grew without human surrounding around him. So he grew among the animals of the jungles. And an interesting research found out that we as humans have a little window in our childhood to learn to speak. And if we miss this window of learning language and learning how to speak, we cannot do it, so to speak, in the future. And this window, once it is being shaped in us, the ability to speak can open future worlds in us, because our access to language enables us in later stages in our life to enter inner worlds which are based on language and metaphors.
This is kind of what I was referring to earlier when I was speaking about on the chat, when I shared that yesterday I was reflecting on the word pattern and how to convey the meaning in a non-corporeal way. And I arrived at the concept or the word, the meaning of harmony, and how there's like harmonic coincidence between things, which connects with some of what Philip was saying about, these patterns and how, even with like two strings or with vibration, there are coincidental moments where there's this harmony that when we measure, we can say, yes, it's this in this order, in this corporeal order. Yet, if we weren't measuring, it's a coincidental harmony. And I think it connects even with what you're saying now.
That's very well. That's true, up and down the whole scale. And as you were saying that, just remembered for those top 3 pictures of negative energy in the group of 6, they provide a very distorted energy, is the word I was trying to think of earlier, where it's not in harmony, everything's distorted. Well, not everything, but it tends to head towards distortion. And just on that picture as well, Kevin, the left one and the one that got brought in, is that like walking in a straight line in circles, circularly?
This would be like walking in a straight line and the vapors coming off of your body or you can look at it as one leg. But if you just looked at it as you as the circle walking straight, or a car, I mean, it may be a little bit of a stretch, but you can even see an aspect or a form in the beginning coming off of the aleph.
I can kind of see vortices coming off of that. If you look at aerodynamics of testings that happen when they pass an object, there's always a vortex that trails it. It looks like that. That's cool. Just before we close up here, Etsy, can I get you to drag over the image of the spiral there and take it up to the image on the top right?
Top right. Yes. This one?
If you can...
This one?
I'm having a little lag. Yes, so if you could bring the Fibonacci spiral image and take it over to this image here.
Yes, 1 second.
And
bring it on top, like that.
yes, and place it so that the starting of the spiral goes into the center of the
1
image.
second. Let's locate it, make it better. Does it
So
sit?
this
Yes, does it
picture here-
sit in the middle? Do you see?
spot on. Yep.
Yeah?
So this picture here is the one of the Milky Way galaxy where we reside in. This is the galaxy of our home, our neighborhood. Our galaxy is a spiral type, which tends to spiral out in the form of a Fibonacci spiral. The arms heading out in the same sequential form. There's a lot of different types of galaxies that are out there. Not all of them are spiral shaped. Not all of them are the same colors. And it's in the order of billions. We just happen to be in this one called the Milky Way. Which was interesting to line up with Fibonacci.
Thank you so much.
So,
I just wanted to add to Fibonacci sequence that you mentioned. The word language in Hebrew has the same pattern here. Safa, safa, language. Safa, Shin, Pei, Hey. Safa, language is, Shin is the 300. Pei is the 80, which is corresponds with the 8, and Hey with the 5.
and also, if you could go to that verse just below, 1 Kings, I think it was.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Sorry, I have delay. It is moving.
Yes, yes.
Can you possibly zoom the screen out to see the Fibonacci sequence at the same time?
Yes.
If we look at the qubits given, you don't have to zoom all the way, that's okay. Just enough to see the King's verse and the Fibonacci sequence on the screen.
Okay. Yes.
And sorry, having the delay.
I will enlarge the verse.
The-
I'll try to make it bigger, the English. 1 second, that it will fit. Try to move the verse under the... Yes. Yes, I moved it. I hope you see on YouTube as well. Reflection.
If we have a look at the measurements that were taken in there, we have a 10, 5, and 30 And as we can do in Hebrew, and as we've done here, we can drop the zeros to have a 1, 5, and 3. And you can see in the Fibonacci sequence that we have a 1, 3, and 5.
1, 3, and 5.
Included in both. Yes?
Mhm. If we take it as 35 plus 1, we come at 36, which is the value of Leah, the hidden world. And interestingly, I didn't know how the conversation will develop, so I prepared a verse in Hebrew that speaks about opening Leah's womb. Yes? Who would like to read the verse about Leah? When Leah here represents the hidden world, who would like to read
I'll read it.
Thank you.
And the Lord saw that Leah was hated, and he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren.
Thank you. Vaiftach, and he opened, Vaiftach, one sword, has the value of 504. 504. Once Shelton asked me about the relation between 5 and 4, 504. In this case, the 500 contains the 4. The temple contains, so to speak, the manifestation. So, Vaiftach et Rachama, and he opened her womb, and he opened 504, the womb of the hidden.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you.
It is wonderful, Eti. And may I just say one thing about the Fibonacci sequence that
Yes.
you open with Shofar?
Yes,
If you could go to this
yes.
sequence. I was looking at it. It is interesting because the 0 stands for the Ein Sof, right?
Yes.
It is. So the 0 is the Ein Sof. The first one, we could put it to Keter, right? To the one that is also related with the Ein Sof.
Mhm.
The second one is related with Chokhmah, that is called Abba, the
Mhm.
father, right?
Mhm.
Right. The number 2 is related with Bina and with the mother.
Yes.
And 358 gives the word Messiah, that is the son. Right.
Yes.
And 13 is love. Okay, so we can.
Yes. Yes. Definitely.
This is so cool.
Yes.
This is here when the Ancient One is sitting. This is from the book of Daniel. And the Ancient One is sitting. This is the first one, crown.
Beautiful. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much for your innovation initiations, and I would like to thank all of you who came here and participated here today. It is so beautiful, and I encourage and ask each and every one of you, if you in the future would like to present any topic, please say, and we can do it. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful Shabbat.
Thank you.
Have a lovable
Thank you.
weekend. Thank you so much,
you.
Ruth, Philip,
Bless you.
Fernando, Rodrigo,
Amen.
Kevin.
Thank you.
Thank you, Venus.
Thank you,
Phil.
Philip.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Eti and friends. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and Shabbat Shalom. See you on Monday.
Shalom.
Shalom, shalom.